Well, good morning. The chair I used as my example of loose mortise and tenon and dowel joint problems is your kitchen chair, your end table or coffee table, or maybe even a footstool. Does it have the wiggles and do this? And you've taken it apart, you stuffed all the holes where the legs go and with glue, and you put it back together. Maybe you even put a nail or a screw up through the leg into the seat of the chair. And you feel it, and boy, it's really tight. You let it sit overnight. The next day you sit down in it, and 15 minutes later, it's doing this again. I bet you've been there and done that. Most people have. I decided to break it apart, fix it up as well as the footstool. So I've got it all torn apart, I've got everything marked, and now I got to fix it. And it's loose everywhere. So some of the joints are pretty tight. All I need to do is just glue them up. Some of them are not fitting real well, and they're more than just loose. They're too big. The holes are too big anymore. And the tenon or the dowel, whatever you want to call it, when it's on a leg like this, just doesn't fit anymore. I guess the wood has shrunk over years. These chairs are really old. I don't know how old they are. As a matter of fact, I bought them back in the early 80s. And they were used chairs at that time. So anyway, so I'm going to fix them up here, and I've got to decide how I'm going to enlarge the tenon here on the end of these legs. I'm going to try to wrap some veneer around them and then sand it down to get a good tight fit. So we'll see how it goes. You know, sticking toothpicks and stuff like that in there, that just doesn't work. And these had all been screwed. You look there, there's a little hole right there where it's screwed through the seat into the leg. And of course that didn't work. Don't know who did that, but that didn't work at all. All that did is keep the leg from falling out, but it didn't prevent it from being real loose. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to get started, and as I get something done, I'll get back with you and show you what I've done. What I did, I cut some little pieces of veneer to go all the way around the tenon here. Put glue on both the tenon and the veneer, and then I wrapped it with masking tape to hold it down tight until it sets up. What I've done up here, this little stretcher was a little loose. The fit was tight, it's just the glue wasn't holding. I could twist it a little bit. So I took that apart, glued it up, put this clamp on first, just barely had it on there, so that when I tighten this clamp down, it doesn't spread, you know, go like that, so that the tenons will still go in the hole. So there we are. We'll let that dry up, and we'll see how well that works. Maybe more sanding than I want to do, so we'll see, because that veneer going all the way around the tenon is going to take up a lot of space. I'm not sure they were all that loose, but we'll see how it works out. What I did here, I put a piece of tenon or piece of veneer in the mortise hole there, about halfway around. That's all it needed. Glued both the tenon and the mortise, and then drilled it in with a hammer. Now that is tight. Look at this. See, that's what it was. This is what it is now. When that glue sets up, this will be perfect. And I'll go ahead and put the screw back in the hole. Just as filler, I guess. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do the other one now. Well, I got the chair back together this morning. Got her all clamped up. And by using veneer to wrap the tenons with, or the dowels, however, whatever you want to call them, the ends of the chairs. They were so tight, I had to use a 2-pound maul to drive the legs down in the hole. So they're really, really tight now. So we're going to take the clamps off and see how well we did. Turn this puppy upside down, or right side up, and see if it's solid. Oh man, it doesn't move anyway. Side to side, front to back. So what I got left now is put the back on, and it's loose as well, so we'll have to kind of fix it up a little bit. These were all tight in the back support here, so it's just a matter of tightening them up in the seat. And we'll probably do a little bit of the same thing. And I'm going to try to show you why putting toothpicks or matchsticks, which seems to be the old trick, you know, down in the holes, why that doesn't work. So we'll draw up a little schematic here, and I'm going to show you why that doesn't work. But in the meantime, I'm going to get this put back together, glued up and put back together. Okay, well, I've got glue up there, and now it's just a matter of putting the thing back down in there, down in the holes. Okay, get some clamps on it, and we're going to be in business. But you get the idea how tight they've got to be. When you put them together, they've got to be that tight, or the glue will not hold, because the glue won't take up the space. Okay, we're going to let this set up overnight, and I'll get back with you in the morning. Well, good morning. I got her all glued back up, ready to take the clamps off, see how we did. But first, I got a graphic here I want to show you about how tenons work and the best way to fix them. So let me zoom in on the graphic. Now, this is what a loose mortise and tenon or dowel looks like. It actually got space all the way around. You know, it may seem like as you push on it, they're just spaced on one side, but actually the space is all the way around. See, there's no contact. And putting glue in there, trying to fill the gap, it's just isn't going to work. Now here's the common fix. You know, push on it one way, stick a toothpick in the back side, you know, then glue all around it. But you'll notice, actually you've only got 2 points of contact. You got the point of contact where the toothpick is, then you got a point of contact up here at the top, probably about a quarter of the way around. Then you got all this open space, starting with the toothpick, probably going all the way up, halfway up each side. You know, you still got a loose tenon. Now, if it's real tight, sometimes you can get away with a 3/4. Take and glue veneer onto the tenon or into the mortise 3/4 the way around. Now you have contact on half or halfway around. On half of it, then you have contact pretty much on the top. The only spaces you won't have contact on is right here next to where the veneer is glued in. Just a little space there. So you'll have about a total of about 3/4 of contact all the way around. That's okay for applications where it's not a lot of stress put on it. But for the legs of a chair, that may not work. For the back of the chair, it probably would work. Here's the best way. Either you glue all the way around the tenon or all the way around the mortise with your veneer, and then you sand to where you got a good tight fit. Here you got full contact all the way around. You know, there you'll have a tenon that will hold for a long, long time. In fact, it probably never will give up to stress. And that's the way it's got to be. If it's not made right to begin with, you got to do something like this, or at least this much, because these won't work. Filling it with glue, using a toothpick or a matchstick, they just won't work. It won't last. I bet you can't. Doing this, I bet it won't last more than 1 or 2 sittings in a chair. It just won't work. So that's what it looks like. This is what you need to do. At least this much, if not that much. Okay? All right. Well, let's put the board away. Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, I realize I'm not a graphic artist. So in the comment section, please, please. I'm already taking blame for bad drawings. All right, let's take the clamps off and see what we got. First, a little sip of coffee. All right, keep your fingers crossed. Probably need it. Okay, the big test. Oh, this sucker is solid. It's like a rock. There is no movement at all in that chair. Well, saved another mid-century chair. Yeah, the story on this chair is I was working in Des Moines, Iowa, and there was a Bishop's Cafeteria next door to our store, and every 10 or 12 years or so they would change out all their chairs because they would really get worn and loose. And I bought 4 chairs from him for $5 a piece. That was back in probably 1980, 81, somewhere along in there. So they were at least 10, 12 years old when I bought them. So there's 20, 30, 40. This chair is 50 years old. And it's just as solid as the day it was new. So, all right. Well, that's it. Well, I hope you learned something and enjoyed the video. And probably the next thing we're going to do will be a photography. I haven't done a photography video in a long time. It's been at least a month and a half, something like that. So I'm kind of anxious to get back out there, get some free time to do a photography video. I've been looking at dynamic range. Been doing some studying on that to try to get a full understanding of dynamic range and how it affects the pictures that you take and what you should be looking for. So in the meantime, have a Merry Christmas. This is probably the last video I'll do until after the first of the year. See you in 2020. In the meantime, get out there and keep your shutter clicking. Bye now.